Let's bring in some guests now to talk about how this works, people who've lived it before, okay? We have former State Department Mideast Peace negotiator Aaron David Miller, retired U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Robert Harward, and Israeli Special Ops veteran Aaron Cohen. Now, one thing we can all agree on here, other than my gratitude for you guys in helping me out, make this explainable to people tonight, is the last thing that we heard from the president, from Kelly Meyer's reporting right there, is an article of convenience, right, ADM, that I'll know the objectives when we meet them. Everybody knows that the Iranian regime is about as bad as it gets, and the world would be better, and Iran would be much better without this inorganic insurgency in its midst. But don't you need to have a better sense of how you do that remotely? Can you bomb a regime out of existence?
I'm not so sure, Chris. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here with everybody. Look, the administration is wandering all over the parking lot with respect to its metrics for success and what it's trying to do. 2 days ago, the president was talking about regime change. He was actually mentioning the name of Ali Larijani, current head of the National Security Council, former head of the IRGC, said that he, the president, was talking to the Iranians. Hegseth today said, no, it's not about regime change. In fact, Hegseth then went on to say the U.S. and Israel have different objectives here. The Israelis might want to change the regime. That's not what we want to do. What we want to do is prevent Iran from projecting its power through its proxies, its putative nuclear weapons aspirations, and its ballistic missiles. That's what we want to do. So, and the president says tonight, we'll be there as long as it takes. And my question is, having worked for Republicans and Democrats, Jimmy Carter to Bush 43, when America goes to war like this, the question is not just can we do it, or even should we do it. It's what will it cost, what are the metrics for success, and what is the extrication? How do you actually get out of this situation? The one redeeming feature here, Chris, and when the president said he wouldn't rule out boots on the ground, I said, you know, I'll put on my walking boots. I'll be out there in the streets if that's what he does. The two longest wars in American history, Iraq and Afghanistan, where the standard for victory was never could we win, but when could we leave and what would we leave behind? That's not a superpower. So, yeah, I agree with you. I don't know what the administration's goals and objectives are. They're all over the lot.
I just hope that they learn, because what they're relying on right now, as I go to Admiral Harward, and it's good to have you, sir, is the one thing that has held up so far is that all Americans agree our military is capable of phenomenal violence and aggression and precision in ways that no one else in the world can do. That we all agree on. The question is, Admiral, when we put you guys in the position to have to do it, 6 lives are lost. Do you believe that what we're seeing here should be understood as warfare?
Well, Chris, first, good to be with you and like two distinguished colleagues here. I agree with everything you've said, but let me put a little twist to it. I think the objectives Aaron has raised is exactly right, but let's look at the strategy. We knew at the end of the Gulf, the 12-day war about 8-9 months ago, one of the objectives, other than taking out the nukes, was taking out all their surface-to-air missiles, so we could fly and do anything in the air we wanted to do. They had the ability over the last 8 months to reconstitute that. So some of these first strikes on our behalf and the military was making sure that surface-to-air threat was neutralized so that now we can fly over the country anytime, anywhere we want and use our missiles to attack those targets. So that's first and foremost. Number second, as he said, we've got to take out all the ballistic missiles. And this is what the military committed to do as part of this campaign. So now they've got to stop that. Are we hitting not only all their launchers, all their missiles inventories, all their production, and the production for the Shahed drones is probably the most important. So they've got to get hot on that now. With the air defense gone, really bring in the bombers, bring in the fighters, bring everything they can to shut that down as quickly as possible, because that's the commitment we made to our Gulf partners. They didn't want us to strike because they know this retaliation. But we kind of said, we can deal with that. So we've got to take care of that now. And I think that's what you're going to see, what the president's referred to, stand by. Now we're going to unleash all that. And so your real indicator of success will be what you're seeing, the strikes in Saudi, UAE, and Qatar, and we'll hit that first objective. Then you lay it on to the other two objectives. We can get the nukes anytime we want. But the third objective, and I think this is where Israel and the U.S. has a deconfliction of roles and missions. While we're dealing with the air defenses and the missiles and the drones, Israel's focused on Tehran, the IRGC, and senior leadership, as we've seen. And I think that's their long-term objective. So we've got those two. We got them on the hand. That's going to happen. We'll see how that plays out the next day or two. But then how's Israel doing on their part of the equation? And their part of the equation leads to that regime change and what the long-term outlet. So that's how I'm seeing this thing unfold at the moment.
And by all accounts, and you know this better than I ever will, a lot of their intelligence is helping us understand the targets. The one thing I don't like is I thought we obliterated their nuclear program in June. And now, just a few months later, they were just weeks away from weapons, industrial grade uranium. I mean, that's tough to swallow, both of those ideas. But Aaron, let me bring you in here. The idea that Israel and America have different agendas. Let me take that concept, but ask it the way that we're hearing here at home. You got us into this, Aaron. That Trump did this because Bibi convinced him that this would be good for him and he needed to do this now. And that's why it happened. We're being led by the nose by you guys. What do you think of that idea?
I think that we have to remember, first of all, I don't think that President Trump, I don't think that Pete Hegseth in the United States is going to enter into any type of operation without phasing. I don't think this is fly by the seat of our pants by any means whatsoever. Now, while I'm not privy, Chris, to the classified intelligence that lays out what those phases are, I can certainly speculate. To your point, nobody tells President Trump what to do. So I don't listen to the naysayers. I don't listen to the squawkers on X and the grievance and the ideology that's being thrown around to create more division. I'm purely interested in the tactical side of the house, and here's where I'm at with that. I do not believe this is warfare. I believe that this is a targeted counterterrorism operation. And I believe that it's divided into three phases. The first phase, which everybody's been very clear about, is the complete disruption of Iran's nuclear capabilities. And so phase one, which we have seen unfold over the last 48 hours, is kill the command and control at the top and eliminate Iran's nuclear capability. That's number one, before anything else. And that includes the leadership strikes, which sends a very strong message, Chris. The top is vulnerable. And that shocks the entire system. It sends a massive wave. But decapitation alone doesn't collapse the regime. And so let me say this. This doesn't come together overnight. I want to be clear. And this is why there's phase planning, because operations like this, I can tell you from the Israeli side of the house, are planned for months. And target packages like we've seen with taking out the Ayatollah and 40 of his top leaders in a matter of an hour are built over years. We're talking about very high-level target tracking, penetration, mapping those networks. I wouldn't be surprised if Israel infiltrated the camera systems to get AI into the picture, to be able to map where everybody was moving. Israel, Chris, does not improvise operations like this, and I believe that Israel is and will always be America's forward operating base in the Middle East. And so when President Trump asks Bibi, who asks our Mossad chief and our Oman intelligence chief, do you guys have plans in place and how would we build this? This is no different than Pete Hegseth bringing an operational plan from his generals. This is America's forward operating allies. We've been in bed together since 48. So the groundwork was laid out, in my opinion, Chris, long in advance before the first missile was launched. The second phase, in my opinion, is this constant degrading that we're seeing right now. There's been thousands of sorties, missile depots, air defenses. Your guests speak to it beautifully. The IRGC infrastructure. I wouldn't be surprised if they're hitting some financial arteries. That's going to help with regime change. That weakens the operational capacity. But let me say this. The third phase is where it gets tricky. The Americans aren't regime change experts. They're not great at it. Israel doesn't do it either. And while the clerics were sitting at the top, Chris, the IRGC in the middle is what provides the control. It's very layered. So in the middle is where it gets very technical. That's the brigade and battalion level IRGC commanders. And those are the officers who command the Basij. Those are the ones who open fire on those riots. Those are the ones with the weapons. And so they decide whether the protests get crushed or not. And so that's the tricky piece here. And so the question is, has Mossad built up enough intelligence over the years identifying and cultivating access inside the middle to be able to begin to bring them over and defect them? And that's where I'm at with that.
I'm just saying that is a lot. By the way, thank you. And thank you to the Admiral. And thank you to ADM. But I'll just say this. America is not Israel. OK, this has not been a point of fixation of something we have to take care of for 2 generations the way it has been for you. And for a lot of people who voted for the president, they did not vote for this. So this is a tricky sell that they don't seem to be knocking themselves out to sell yet. Well, even Khamenei, by the way. We haven't even seen the proof that he's dead. Supposedly you guys sent the president proof. He has it. He didn't show it to us. It's been an unusual start, but we got to take it one step at a time and ask the right questions. Admiral, ADM, Aaron, thank you each and all. I'll call on you again and soon, I'm sure. Thank you, brothers. Appreciate you. 4 minutes and 35 seconds.